Where are you going? I was just gonna go to GameStop to pick up my Funko Pop pre-orders of Hunter x Hunter. Why? I was asking because one, why are you just wearing a tank top? Two, how are you gonna get to GameStop if GameStop is about 30 miles within the other city? I was gonna use your car. Thought you wouldn't mind. You know what? I'll let you use my car if you could beat me in a game of rock, paper, scissors. Deal? Awesome! All right, cool. Let's go ahead. Before we get into it, let me change real quick. Why do you have to get changed for a game of rock, paper, scissors? What type of sense is he making right now?
2 hours later.
Man, are you ready or what? Us! Why are you wearing green booty shorts to play rock, paper, scissors? You know what? Never mind. Let's go ahead and get this over with. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper. Wait, hold up. Why is your fist glowing? Why is your fist glowing? Chill. You can have my car. You can have my money. I'll buy the pops for you myself. Uh-oh. What's up, you guys? Chase the Dark Sage here, and I'm back with another episode of Weebish. Now, in this episode, I will be giving my thoughts and review of the show / anime Hunter x Hunter. Now, I know a lot of people, if you've been watching me for a while, if you're a returning viewer / subscriber, y'all kind of know the show is all right to me so far. I mean, I just hit the Chimera ad arc. Depending on when this comes out, I might be done with that. I might not be. But right now, I'm done up to the part of Greed Island, and it's not looking too good. So, let's get into it. So, let's go ahead and talk about Hunter x Hunter. My synopsis of the show is, it's about a little boy that wears green little booty shorts, and he's trying to find his dad that said that he would come back, and he never came back. No, I'm just kidding, guys. I know, y'all about to kill me in that. But let's be real, Gon be wearing some booty shorts in that show. But the show is basically about Gon Freaks. He's the main character of the whole show, and basically his dad leaves him because he's a hunter or whatever, and his aunt tells him that his dad left because he's a hunter, and Gon wants to become a hunter in his own because if being a hunter is so fascinating for his dad to not be in his life, he thinks that being a hunter might be one of the best things ever, probably. So basically in the show, you see the growth of Gon and his friends that accompanies him along this journey. Now, let me tell you how I was introduced to Hunter x Hunter. Back then, my old best friend, he used to be watching the old version, the 1999 version, and I never knew what it was. I already knew that it looked similar to Yu Yu Hakusho because obviously it's made by the same creator. But it just never interested me. It had a dry color palette to me, and it didn't interest me back then when I was younger. But let's now fast forward to 2011 when they made the remake, and honestly, it looked bright and colorful, but the anime wasn't for me, and especially with all the hype that surrounds it, I definitely didn't want to check out the anime. And the Chimera Ant arc is known as one of the greatest shonen anime arcs, and that's pretty heavy. I'm a Dragon Ball Z fanboy. I'm not saying that Dragon Ball Z is the best anime or the worst anime. It's very pivotal in anime history, but the best arc in anime history? I'm not gonna lie, it's actually winning me over. I'm actually in the Chimera Ant arc as I'm filming this video right now, and honestly, that Chimera Ant arc, it ain't for no punks. Now let's go ahead and get into the show. Let's go ahead and talk about the arcs because I really want to talk about it because honestly, I believe from my opinions, I'm construed as a hater for Hunter x Hunter. And I'm not hating on Hunter x Hunter, but with these high expectations that it's supposed to meet for me in my head, I just expected it to be a lot better. Now let's go ahead and talk about the first arc is the Hunter exam. And this is basically where you meet all the main cast. You meet Gon, Killua, Kurapika, Leorio, which is one of my favorite characters, and Hisoka. You also get to learn what hunters are, what they kind of do, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a little confusing because I still don't know what a hunter exactly does. Like if someone were to ask me what a hunter does, I wouldn't be able to explain it to them. I could just say that they could kill people because they have a license to. Now in this arc was okay. It's about 20 episodes. I watched it on dub because you know I'm dub gang, but I watched it in dub on Netflix because it is available on Netflix up to the Greed Island arc as I'm recording this video. And honestly, it's all right. I mean, I watched it because I thought something dope was going to happen, but there was no dope fights. You see Hisoka, and honestly, he reminds me of that creepy old dude. Like, he reminds me of like an Orochimaru, basically, because he has this certain infatuation, I guess, with killing, and especially killing someone that has a great fighting potential. I don't know. It's kind of confusing. I really want to see where he goes within the anime or the manga, because obviously the anime has been on hiatus since 2014, because obviously, you know, the creator of this anime slash manga, he has back problems from, you know, creating the Go anime like Yu Yu Hakusho, keep nail on his back for a while. But, you know, that's besides the point. I just want to see where this character Hisoka goes, because he seems super powerful, especially in the later arcs in the show. He is one of my favorite characters so far as well. Him and Leorio, even though Leorio isn't seen as that powerful from what I've watched so far. He's just super funny. I love his attitude and just the way he is. Besides that, let's go ahead and talk about some of the characters. First up, we meet Gon, and he reminds me of Kid Goku from Dragon Ball, like when Goku was about 12 or 13, the same age as Gon is in this show. Gon is pretty happy-go-lucky. He seems like a very positive, optimistic person, and I actually love that in the main antagonist. He isn't stupid, but he's kind of dumb, like, especially like when he gets thrown like a lot of math or a lot of information thrown at him at one time, which honestly is one part that I do love about the show, because when he gets a lot of information thrown at him, all you see is steam come out of his ears and you just see him look confused. And honestly, that's how I feel, because I'm like, yo, y'all are hitting me with a lot of information right now in such a short amount of time. Go ahead and spread that out, and I will talk more about that within the second arc of the show. But I love Gon. Let's go ahead and talk about Leorio. Leorio is just this guy who basically wants to become a hunter so he could get money to become a doctor, because one of his best friends, I guess, died in the past, and he wants to kind of stop that from happening again. Kurapika, he just has this vengeance against the Phantom Troupe arc, and I don't know. We'll talk more about that in the Phantom Troupe arc era too. Then we got Killua, who is a, I guess, retired assassin, which Killua is a super dope character. Obviously, if you're watching the show, you're definitely gonna love Gon and Killua. I don't really know that many people that like Leorio and Kurapika, even though I see a whole bunch of fan pics of Kurapika online. I don't know, but Gon and Killua is basically the main cast of this show. But like I said before, the Hunter exam is just a whole bunch of like mini games for them to pass this exam so they can get their Hunter license, basically. Let's go ahead and move on to the Tower arc, where to me, the show steps it up a little bit, but it also leaves me wanting more. Now me, I definitely love my shonen arcs, especially with a tournament, but this one, I don't know how I feel about this one, guys, because this is when they introduced that new fighting system called Nen, and this is the energy slash battle system that they use within the whole show. And at the beginning, it's a whole bunch of information just thrown at you at one time, because they got Nen, Ten, Ren, and it's a whole bunch of confusing stuff. I don't even know how it all works. Like, you have to be a reader slash anime watcher of Hunter x Hunter to really realize how much this stuff could go in depth, because I obviously know it has like its elemental uses and stuff like that. Like there's enhancers, emulators, or whatever they're called. I don't know, but it's very confusing. It's a whole bunch of information thrown at you within a 12 episode span, which I do love my 12 episode seasons, because I'm a grown adult. I got things to do. I don't need to be sitting up here watching a 60 episode arc of something, which I am doing because, you know. But still, I appreciate that the Tower arc, it didn't need to be long, and it definitely wasn't long. And it really just tries to introduce you to that new battle system that they're implementing called Nen. And like I said before, it's a whole bunch of information thrown at you. I really didn't get it, but this is where basically the training starts from this show until Greed Island. Not much happens in this Tower arc, and honestly, I like it because it's a tournament, but then again, there's only one memorable scene in this, and this is when Gon is fighting Hisoka, and this is probably one of the most memorable fights in the show so far that I've watched. And honestly, no other fight has really met my expectations since. All right, now we're on to the auction slash Phantom Troupe arc. This is mostly a Kurapika story, because in this arc, this is when Kurapika and Leorio come back into the main frame with the main cast, and honestly, I thought it was going to be a cool anime crew, but it wasn't. Kurapika was doing his own thing as a little bodyguard. He was trying to take on the Phantom Troupe, because these are the people that killed off his entire clan. And honestly, the fight scenes with Kurapika, they're dope, but they're not memorable. Especially when he fought that Beast Phantom Troupe member. That was pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie, especially with his little Nen ability and then his Nen promise or whatever, that chain thing around his heart. Pretty dope, but nothing is really memorable. His character is kind of boring as well. All he wants is revenge. He reminds me of Sasuke from Naruto, only seeking revenge. But to me, there's not much of his character. He just seems very bland, very boring. I mean, a whole bunch of people love him online, but honestly, I don't really like him that much. Like I said, when I first saw the characters, and I saw the promotional art, and I saw the poster, I'm thinking these characters are going to go through all these seasons all together. But honestly, after this arc, you really don't see Kurapika much. You don't see Leorio much as well. You always are going to see Gon and Killua, because Gon and Killua are best friends. Because Killua honestly grew up with no friends, and him having Gon, he just wants to go with Gon because he just wants a friend, basically. I do love Gon and Killua's relationship, but after that, when I see Kurapika, I really am not interested in his story. And Leorio, I wish he was in the mainframe a little bit more. But in the Phantom Troupe arc, while Kurapika's story is mostly going, we are going to the Greed Island portion of the show, where basically Gon is trying to get to Greed Island because it's just another clue for him to find his father. And in order for him to find his father has left a clue for him within the game Greed Island, and he goes to this auction in order for him to get the game Greed Island so he could buy it, which is a whole bunch of stuff that's happening in the background, because honestly, the stuff that Gon and Killua are doing in this arc, not really interesting. Now, Kurapika is cool, but I want to see Gon and Killua fight. Like, I want to see some action. In this anime, it's heavy into action later on in the later parts, but right now the action is just so slim to none, and it was just not captivating me. It was kind of boring me a little bit. Now, I know a lot of people, they're trying to say that this arc is probably character building for some of the side characters, but honestly, I don't care. At the end of this arc, I really do like the fact of a certain character losing their net. I'm not going to spoil it for people who haven't watched, even though the anime came out in like, what, 2011 and it ended at 2014. Well, at least it's on hiatus till 2014. But I really like the fact that one of the characters lose their net ability, but obviously, since he's a big bad, he's going to get his power back somehow. I don't know how he's going to get it exercised or whatever, but I can't wait to see that, especially since I really want to see Hisoka fight this guy, and he didn't end up doing it. Let's move on to the next arc. Okay, now guys, we got the last arc that I'm about to talk about, which is Greed Island. Honestly, I did not like this part at all. I'm sorry, but being in a video game, the only time I liked characters being in a video game, obviously besides kind of like Digimon, is Sword Art Online, which only liked that up to like episode 17 when they first beat the first game. After that, when they was about to go into a second game, I was like, nah, bro, this ain't for me. Now, Greed Island, it isn't the bad part because this is another training arc, and I feel like all of these arcs up until now had just been training arcs. Nothing amazing has happened. Nothing great has happened. A lot of people that say that this show is great, I've watched 70 episodes of this, and nothing great has happened. No memorable fight since Gon and Hisoka fought. I mean, yeah, there's like one cool fight in here, but to me, I feel like it's a cop-out because it's in a video game, even though the video game is placed in the real world and all this other confused stuff. I don't know. So you basically meet the main antagonist at the beginning, which you don't know is the main antagonist until later on. He confirms it within the middle of the arc, who is Genthru. He's the bomber or whatever. And obviously they have to stop it because he is a bad guy within the game, killing people. Now to me, I feel like if you took Greed Island out, it really wouldn't change the story much. Yeah, it's a training arc for them to meet Bisky, and Bisky trains them because Bisky is like a 50-year-old hag or whatever that teaches them more about Nen and strengthens them. And, you know, obviously she plays a later on role within the Chimera Ant arc. But honestly, I feel like if you took this part out of Greed Island, it really doesn't matter within the grand scheme of things. Now, I did like the big risk of, spoilers are coming up ahead, I did like the big risk of Gon using the technique and him destroying his hands when he was fighting Genthru. I loved that because I love that it was a risk taken. I forgot all about the cards having the ability to actually heal people, but the risk that they took with Gon losing both of his hands, I was blown back in my seat when he used that Jonkin fist. And oh my God. That was a super dope moment. Now, I wish we had some more cooler scenes in there, but honestly, Gon has one move throughout the whole show. It has been 70-something episodes, and Gon only has one move. And it's a move that Goku uses in Dragon Ball. How is this one of the greatest shonens and they do that? Yeah, up until then, Gon only has one move that he's actually used, and honestly, it's such a subpar. I mean, the move in itself, the originality is subpar. I mean, it's all right when you watch it in the grand scheme of things, but honestly, rock, paper, scissors, come on. We already know that Kid Goku does that, and I already says that him and Goku have a great similarity to each other, in my opinion. But I'm not trying to be a Hunter x Hunter hater. I mean, honestly, the show hasn't won me over with these 70 episodes because it's only 140-something episodes. I've watched 70-something episodes and it still hasn't won me over. There still aren't that many memorable moments. I mean, the comedy, it does hit every now and then, which is cool, but I don't know, I just expected more from the show, especially from the hype that it gets. I feel like a lot of people just hype it up because the Chimera Ant arc, the other half of the show is so great that I guess it encompassed the other part. I just feel like from the Hunter exam to the Greed Island arc, I feel like that's all just build up for the Chimera Ant arc, which honestly, I know it's not going to be the finale because obviously the manga or the anime isn't finished. But all this build up, 70 episodes of build up, just so we can get here, that's a lot of build-up, guys. That means your audience has to have a lot of patience to sit through all that. Like I said, the show was amusing. The show was entertaining. It's not bad at all. But for me, comparing it from the hype that I got to what I actually watched, yeah, it didn't meet it. Hunter x Hunter the Chimera Ant arc. Now, I know my last video, it kind of came off like I was hating on Hunter x Hunter, but I'm not hating. I just feel like the hype that people give me about it didn't really meet my expectations. But this Chimera Ant arc, though, it's something sexy. Now, I will say that this Chimera Ant arc, it did win me over for Hunter x Hunter. Like I said before, I do love the characters of Hunter x Hunter. It's just the story beforehand wasn't really winning me over. So I didn't really get down with the Hunter x Hunter fan base until the Chimera Ant arc. But still, I kind of don't get down with them because that was 70 episodes of stuff that was just training compared to this, where it was like 60 episodes of some real stuff. So I keep digressing. So I'm gonna go ahead and just tell you about what this season was about. It's about like 60 episodes, which is pretty long for one season. But I'm gonna tell you what this season's about. I'm gonna give you my pros, I'm gonna give you my cons. So let's get into it. So basically the Chimera Ant arc is an arc where Gon and Killua have to stop these species of ants called Chimera ants that basically eat something and they transfer the powers or the knowledge or the personality of whatever they ate into its birthed descendant or something like that. And basically the king is going to be born, and then the selection day is going to happen, and then the king eats on the selection day of a lot of humans, and then there's 3 royal guards, and then I don't know, it's really confusing when you're trying to explain it, but when you watch it, it all makes sense. But basically the hunters have to stop Miriam, who is the king. That's just plain and simple. It's a typical shonen. Good guy beats bad guy that's trying to dominate or destroy the world. So let's get into my pros. One of my pros with this is I definitely love this arc. This is the best arc in Hunter x Hunter. This is one of the best arcs in shonen. I'm not gonna lie, it was hyped a little bit, but I do love it. And I kind of want to say that this arc is kind of like separated in 3 parts. Like when Gon and Killua first meet Kite, a hunter that trained under Gon's dad. Pre-selection day when Gon and Killua are doing their training. And then the selection day itself, like when they're in it, because that arc, well, that day itself lasts for like 30 episodes, I feel. But I like the way that the pacing was in this until it gets to the selection day itself. The pacing was great. I loved it. I love the dialogue, even though I had to watch it in sub. I'm dub gang. Like, look, dub is a superior way of watching anime, but I had to watch the whole arc in sub. And yeah, it's cool, but I hate Gon and Killua's voices in sub. I'm sorry, I just hate it. I do love the pacing of this arc. To me, it's the best arc pacing-wise throughout the whole show. Secondly, they introduced a new character named Kite, who was a character that trained under Gon's dad. And he's cool. I mean, he doesn't really have much character to himself. I mean, you just know that he's powerful. He's met Gon's dad, he's trained under Gon's dad, and he wants to stop the Chimera ants. So, I mean, Kite's cool, he seems powerful. He only really has 3 moments to shine, which I don't want too powerful of a character like that within the whole season, because then he'll take away from the season, and then I'm gonna wonder how my main characters are gonna stop this bad guy when someone like that is in the main frame as well. So I'm glad they kind of got a way of him to get out of the season and to make Gon and Killua the main frames of this season as well. So, let's talk about Gon and Killua and their training. Because, oh my gosh, they get so powerful in this arc. The moves that they come up with is super crazy. The way they use their moves. Like I said, if you haven't seen my video before, I love Gon and Killua. I love the relationship. I love the fact that they just get powerful and more powerful with each arc that passes through. And you just see the progression slowly, but you just see how powerful they were from the start to right now. And it's just such a big jump if you just jump from the beginning, from the Hunter exam to like right now, the Chimera Ant arc. Gon and Killua, they're always going to be good because I feel like the creator of this anime/manga, he knows what he's doing with these characters. He is the creator of Yu Yu Hakusho, so he already has a little bit of, experience with creating characters and making them, fleshed out and giving them their own characteristics of personality and making them their own. In this arc, I really didn't feel like any character was in the limelight except for Gon and Killua, obviously, but I never felt like Gon was just the main character and Killua was a supporting type. They are both their main characters in the story, and I definitely love that. Like usual, Gon is a charismatic type, and Killua is just like the pessimistic type, which I kind of like because he's powerful, but he's just gonna tell it to you straight. Like, he has no filter on his mouth, and I love that. Killua also comes off as the really calculated one within this arc as well, and I really love that about his character because Gon, he's the powerhouse. Killua, he's the brains, even though he got some bronze too. Another pro I like is the main antagonist, which is Miriam, and oh my gosh. Woo! What they did with Miriam in this arc was so great, especially towards the end. They make you feel for the villain in this one. Like, and I hate that because they did the same thing in Yu Yu Hakusho. I'm not going to spoil it in case you haven't seen it, but they did the same thing in Yu Yu Hakusho, and I hated it because I didn't like Miriam at first, Then I started to like him. Oh my god, Miriam was such a goat. But I do like his character concept. He does remind me of Cell with his tail, and plus he's all green, which is kind of weird. His design reminds me of Cell a little bit, and I've seen a lot of people say that he reminds him of Cell. I feel like I jumbled that up all too much. But yeah, Miriam does remind me of Cell. You actually get to like his character a little bit. You get to see what his character is like because he's just born into this world that he really doesn't know what he's supposed to do, but he just knows that he's supposed to take over it because his title is king. But basically, they kind of make him human in this arc, which I really do like. Last pro is the fighting scenes. Oh my gosh, the fighting scenes were so great in this arc. I just love the training arc, especially when you meet this new character named Shoot and Knuckle, and when Gon has to fight Knuckle, and then he has this thing called bankruptcy, which it kind of like adds interest onto your Nen when you had this little piggy bank thing of Nen on your back. Man, it is so dope. I think that's a powerful character, and my favorite character coming from this arc is Morel with the smoke. Oh my gosh, because he literally comes with the smoke. That was a funny one. I know. Yeah, I ain't gotta tell me. I know that was pretty funny. But I definitely love Morel. He was super smart. He knew exactly how to use his Nen abilities. And I just love that. Because in this arc, they show more Nen users. And I love the fact that each of them are just so different in the way that they use their Nen and the way they utilize it in certain situations. Now, when Gon was training against Knuckle, those were some heat battles, especially when he powered up his Jajankin, and then he really realized how much power could be behind it and all that type of stuff. And then they go through this whole arc where Gon kind of like loses his Nen for a little bit, but he gains it back. It's pretty dope. I really love it because it kind of sets the characters back. You get a little more character time with the actual characters instead of you just seeing them beat up on bad guys and things like that. Okay. I know I probably said last pro, but this is another pro. They show a lot of the villain side of whatever they're doing, and I kind of like that at a point because we know what they're doing instead of wondering what they're doing. We know what they're doing, what they're thinking, how they're thinking. You see the choices of some of the Chimera ants, and you see like how they're kind of developing as their own person rather than them just being a soldier. And I really like that because it makes them as well be human, even though they came from humans. Yeah, this whole thing gets confusing still. Now let's go ahead and go into my cons. It's not that many cons on here, but oh my gosh. My biggest con was on the selection day with all the narration. I know, guys, you need the narration because I think it was like 10, 15 episodes went by and it was like 3 minutes, like in their time. Now, I know you're not going to really grasp everything that's happening on screen, but the narration bogged the pacing down horribly for like 10 to 15 episodes, and I couldn't deal with it, guys. Like, I'm binging through these episodes. Every now and then, I'm skipping the narration size dialogue because it was so uninteresting. Every time a character would say a piece of dialogue, just a line of dialogue, the narrator would come in and do 10 minutes of dialogue, or 10 minutes of narration. And it was just bogging the anime down, and I just could not stand it. It was super boring. It put me to sleep multiple times. It slowed me down to watching because I was getting hyped to the selection day, and then they started bogging it down with all the narration. It's like that for like 15 episodes, and man, that bogged it down a lot. Another con I have in this is with some of the characters that they give prevalent screen time to, and they don't really develop them, or you don't really care for them, or they just come off as wasted potential because there were some characters I expected a lot more from, and they didn't really meet my expectations, or they didn't really do much compared to the screen time that was given to them, and I'm thinking they were going to make a bigger impact within the story, but they didn't, and I was kind of saddened by that. And certain characters, well, let me tell you this arc, it gets real. Certain characters, they die in this, and I just didn't really care for the deaths at some point. I know this might be a spoiler. I'm not going to say who dies or anything like that, but certain characters die and things like that, and I just didn't feel for the death. It didn't hurt me. Obviously, it's going to hurt the main characters because, you know, this is their show, but it didn't really hurt me as a viewer. Like, I didn't really care for them because they didn't give them enough screen time, or they didn't give them enough personality for me to actually connect with these characters. And thirdly, some things that they did when a certain thing happened and a certain character gets amnesia or whatever, and other characters just act super weird in this. They just act, to me, it was just so weird. Like, the mood was just killed. Like, oh my God, the mood was killed. But those are my only cons about this. So obviously, if I only have those few cons and I have a lot of pros with this, y'all know that I really enjoyed this season of Hunter x Hunter. I was about to call him my hero by accident. That was about to be very disrespectful. But yeah, guys, I really love this season of Hunter x Hunter. It was very great. The pacing was good until the selection day. The characters are pretty dope. I definitely love the new character of Morel, Knuckle, I kind of like Shoot. I really don't like him, but I really love Knuckle and Morel. And I love the fact that they're giving all these characters certain nen abilities that other characters can't use, and it's just like their specialty. And I really love that because it creates more diversity within the cast. And also it makes some interesting character moments for them when they're doing the jokes, because I did love the comedic timing on this season as well. Their comedic timing on this one was far better than all the other ones. Like the other ones, they weren't bad, but this one had a lot more comedic timing, a lot more smart jokes, and a lot more of that anime comedy, basically. Sadly, there was no fan service though. I definitely would have loved some fan service. But that is it for my review, guys. I give this season an 8.5. The way they made me feel for the villain, the way they made me love the characters even more than I did before, the way the pacing was until they got to the selection day, I definitely love it. I think this is an anime that everyone should watch. It's 60 episodes, so it's about half of the show, but the 70 episodes before, it's all right. But the Chimera Anarch, yeah, that won me over. Like, I'm a Hunter x Hunter fan now. But let me know what you guys thought about Hunter x Hunter. I had to put some respect on the name. I got it. I had to do another video on what I thought about the Chimera Anarch, because I know a lot of people saw my previous video and they said that the Chimera Anarch will win you over, and y'all didn't lie. It did. But that's it for the video, guys. If you like content like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And I'd like to say thank you guys for watching. Also, who is y'all's favorite character from Hunter x Hunter? Mine currently is Gone, but I also love Morel, because Morel with that smoke, pretty dope. But that is it for the video, guys. I'd like to say thank you guys for watching. Dark Sage out. Peace.
Say you got a pass, but I'm knowing life is fast. Everybody's got their path, need you to meet me where I'm at. Can't see me through these tents, I bet they asking who is that. You seeing what I'm on, but you don't know me like that. Don't come in and tease it, without a plan to treat me a please. I know what you needed.